Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2. We good, David?
Yeah, mine's.
All right, I know the screen in the back's a little ahead, I think by like 2 or 3 minutes, but because it says it's 9 o'clock, we're going to get started. Good morning, everybody. Today is February 26, 2026. Wow. We're going to call the Green Valley Special Utility District meeting to order. Agenda A, all board members are accounted for, present. We're good on that. We'll stand up for the invocation and pledge. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask your blessing and watchful eye over the employees of Green Valley. Make sure that you give them all the blessings, all the curement of sickness and disease or anything that they need. Make sure you put them under your protection. Bless them in every way you can. Take care of our residents, ratepayers, and our board. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank y'all. Obviously, we have a packed house today, so something must be clearly going on. I don't see anybody else other than our employees, so I take it that the public comments are not needed. All right, moving on to consent agenda. All right, all items listed below are to be considered routine and non-controversial by the board and will be approved by one motion. There will be no discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered an action taken as necessary as part of the order of business. We have items, what is this, D1 through D9. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns? Nope. With that, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve agenda item 9, 1 through D, 1 through 9.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope, the ayes have it. All right, we're gonna change up the order of business real quick. We're gonna go to agenda item F1. And we're gonna do employee recognition real quick.
Okay, good morning, board, and good morning to our fine employees gathered with us today. So we're going a little bit out of order today because I want to do the recognitions up front because we got a long board meeting. I wanted to get you guys back to work because you're looking kind of lazy sitting in here, but it is what it is. But anyway, so today, board, I would like to recognize two ladies. I'd like to recognize Lindy and Michaela. And so if I could ask Lindy to come up here first. So what Lindy does, actually, Lindy's the engine behind our growth numbers, right? So when we say we set 1,000 to 1,100, meters a month, those things didn't happen by magic, right? So that involves collecting the payments, that involves setting up accounts, that involves coordinating work orders to get the meter drop installed. And the only reason we've been rocketing along as fast as we've been going at this rate is because Lindy enables that, right? And so Lindy's you've been here for a little bit of time, predates me for a long time, I think. Yeah, since 2016 for sure. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to Lindy, what you do, and you are the engine behind us, and we recognize that, and we really enjoy working with you. So I'll give you that, and I'll give you this. Thank you, Lindy. Okay, now I'm going to bring up Michaela, and you'll have to come back, Lindy. You have to come back in a minute. So Michaela Bradshaw joined our team not too long ago, probably like before Christmas, maybe November, October timeframe. Yeah. Okay. It was August, a little bit longer than I thought. But Michaela is also in the development department, right? So Michaela's role is to do the coordination between, our developers with the NSSAs, with the attorneys, collecting fees such as, our water acquisition fee and kayak fees and keeping all those things straight. multiple easements and other things that she takes care of. But the reason why I'm recognizing her today, because she's made an immediate impact in a short amount of time, here at Green Valley. I mean, her organizational skills are just impeccable. Her customer service with our developer part of our customer base has been fantastic, and she's just a lot of fun to work with too. So we really like Michaela, and we just want to recognize her for the job that she's doing and say thank you. So thank you, Michaela. Okay, now both of you can come up. We got to take an obligatory picture.
Hold on real quick. Yeah,
What are you doing?
Brian.
Okay,
thank you.
this is going to be hilarious.
This is gonna be great. So,
Hey,
you can stand
Gage,
here.
whoa, come back.
You're gonna stand up here. So Phil does every month. Phil recognizes an employee or employees this month on the accomplishments that they've done, and being our fearless leader and leading by example. Phil just got his D license to be a water operator. So, right? Thanks. Right. So we're gonna recognize Phil from the operations department, and the guys and I and the team put something together so that you have your water license. We blew it up for you so that you can read it, because we know how bad your eyesight is. And then while you're out, I mean, you were out this week, but we wanted to make sure that you had your operator license that you can wear around your neck, so that everybody knows that you are a Class D water license. So while you're out with RJ and Jeremiah doing the locks and unlocks, you're good. And then from the team, we wanted to get you the Green Valley gold watch. So we got you this really classy gold watch for your accomplishments. So guys, appreciate your help. So that's for you. Wear it with pride, and all that stuff. And then the team got you a card, and we all signed it. So congratulations, Phil, D water license.
Great job.
All right, now we'll do the picture. Yeah, no, hold on. We're gonna do the picture now. Come on. We'll do the picture. Get over here.
Oh, no, you're not going to get away with that.
Guys,
Come on.
there you go. Oh, I think he has to know the water part.
It's all him,
Yeah.
huh? Good.
Thank y'all so much, and congratulations, Mr. Gage. Thank you guys for showing up.
Oh.
Good job.
That was excellent.
That was awesome. Wow, awesome. What a way to. Yeah, I think we took a salary cut of some kind.
I'm lost for words.
Well, you deserve it.
Okay.
So now you need to get a level C and keep working
Yes,
your
I'm
way
gonna
up.
get another one.
So, all right, we're gonna go back to the order of business. We're gonna go to number E, Nueces River Authority update.
Okay, Board, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Travis Pruski. So Travis is a friend of the district, as you know. He's the operations officer for Nueces River Authority. He also serves in a different capacity on the Regional Planning Board, so he knows quite a few things about water in our region. So we've asked him to come out and deliver an update on the Nueces River Authority project. I think you had a meeting with participants last week, and I don't think we weren't able to participate because calendar conflict, so I just asked him to come, and he was gracious enough to come deliver the same update to the board. So I'll introduce Travis and hand it over to him.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me here. Travis Pruski with the Nueces River Authority. I'm Chief Operations Officer. I've got a few slides I'm going to go through. I think some of the stuff you might have remembered from last year when we first introduced this project to you, but please stop me at any time if you guys have questions. I try to keep this as informal as possible. But we'll just kind of give you an update as much as possible what's going on. Some of the numbers don't directly affect Green Valley because y'all are a little bit outside of where we're concentrating on, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't affect you guys when it comes to the use of the water. So we're going to go to next slide, please. So, of course, if you guys remember, we talked to you a little while back. The Nueces River Authority was created a little over 90 years ago, and our job is to look at water. So I won't bore y'all with all of these facts, but go ahead and go to the next slide. We'll go ahead and go to the next slide because y'all got some of this information from previous ones. So these are some updated numbers on the regional planning groups. We just completed the last planning cycle, and those shows you the acre feet deficits that we are looking at for the region that we represent in the Nueces Basin. You kind of see an outline there. We have 4 regions, but Region L, which you guys are part of, and then Region N are our biggest, obviously, concerns. So that's why we, of course, are doing this project. And then the next slide, those numbers are staggering. When you really put it down to look at it, and you look at it's the municipal growth that we see coming our way over the next 40, 50 years is really where we're going to be running into some serious trouble. So right now we're looking at just updated numbers. Again, we just finished the last regional cycle plans, is that we're at 200 million gallon deficit in just 2030. That's 4 years from now. That's beyond scary, but that number jumps to way over 500 million gallons by 2080, and I think those numbers are very conservatively speaking. I'm sure you guys are seeing growth way above what we saw. If you look at the Region N and the Region L populations, those are all, of course, were based off of the 2020 census data. So we believe those numbers are really underestimated what the actual needs are coming our way. We believe that we're going to see a huge growth whenever we do that next census. Let's go to the next slides. I do need to update this slide. We actually dropped below 9% last week. These are our 2 reservoirs, Choke Canyon and Lake Corpus Christi. We're actually at 8.7% now. Of course, historic low, we broke the record every day for about 18 months now. We broke the record on the lows of the lakes combined. If you've ever been to Lake Corpus Christi, that's the state park. If you ever had a chance where they do the Texas Parks and Wildlife releases the trout into and they have this whole thing where they set up, that area right there is where they would normally have done the trout. They obviously can't do that this year. Where I'm standing, that's our ski basin. That water should have been about 15 feet above my head. So I took a picture facing one way and then facing the other way. And this shows you they've added on 5 sections over the last 3 years at the state park just so that the citizens could get to the lake water on their pier systems. That's how severe it is there. Next slide. That is at the Choke Canyon Dam. If you ever been a chance to go to the dam, you can see my Dodge 250 parked up there on top of the boat ramp. They extended the boat ramp about 10 years ago. The boat ramp should be normally about 30 feet depth. I am about 100 yards away from my truck. Where I'm standing should probably be about 50 to 60 feet depth of water. And that shows you the look. And then I turn around and look where I should be looking at a vast lake, and that's what you see. Next slide. That one picture on the left, that is the Nueces River. That one intake structure you see in the middle of the river, that is for the city of Beeville. That, and under normal water levels, should be below water. There's usually a buoy that protects it, that you don't drive around. That whole area to the left would be underwater in just our normal river years, not flood, not anything, just a normal river year. The picture on the right is actually of the Frio River, if you want to call it a river right now. That's how bad a shape our river is looking on right that. So next slide. So I'll update y'all with a few things on our desal project. If you guys aren't familiar, right now there's 22,000 desalination projects across the country, feeding over 300 million people with water. That's about 32 billion gallons a day of water is produced through desal. They project that number by 2030 is going to go over to 66 billion gallons of water produced. There are multiple plants being built all over the world right now with desal, because this isn't just a U.S. problem, it's everywhere problem. And I gave you a list of some of those countries there. If you've ever been anywhere in the Caribbean, you've drank desal water. Is anybody, of course, anybody in the Navy in here, you were drinking desal water. So, or if you've ever been on your cruise boat, you're drinking desal water, so it's pretty common. Next slide. So, give you an update on this. This is from our previous one. So, we do have a lease. That is the Harbor Island that we will be building our project. And I know, again, people get confused between the Inter Harbor project that the city of Corpus Christi is doing. Their project is if you've ever been to where the baseball field is, if you've seen the hooks at the Big Causeway, Lexington, that's where they're building their project. This is our project, so that a little town out there, that's Port Aransas. So that's kind of reference point, and then we're going to be really right next to the ferry. So if you get in line to get on the ferries, we're to the left. That's where you're going to be able to see our plant project built every day. Yes.
I'd heard that the city was going to abandon their plan and jump in with you. Is that not?
They abandoned their plans and now they're trying to bring it back. They are purchasing water from us because the Inner Harbor project they were going to build is for 30 MGD was their max capacity. Our base down there needs over 100 million gallons a day, so they weren't going to solve their problem with that one plant. This was one piece of their project, and we'll get to show you how they're part of our project. But it died. They're trying to revive it now. If you go back to those lake pictures, we're in a serious issue down in South Texas. All right, so next slide. So if you haven't had a chance to see this intake structure, this picture hasn't changed, but maybe it'd be new for some of you guys. So this is how we're gonna get rid of all of our environmental issues. So at Harbor Island, we're gonna bore down about 80 feet. Then we're gonna go out about 5 miles and pop up in the Gulf. And that's where we're gonna take our water. And that's also how we're gonna discharge it. And by doing this through the permitting process, we've eliminated almost everything environmental, which has been really fantastic for us. And then one of the really cool things, if I go to the next slide. Okay, so that tells you a little bit more. So the intake structure is going to be 3.1 miles from our Harbor Island. So that's 1.3 miles out into the Gulf at 35-foot depth. And then our discharge pipeline is going to be 3.6 miles. We're going to follow that same corridor. It'll be half a mile further out into the Gulf. So we'll be 1.8 miles to the Gulf, where we'll discharge at 44 feet of depth. If you guys missed this from our presentation last year, that's really important because one is if there are any environmental issues like red tide or things that tend to happen, we're far below any of those effects, so we won't have to stop production if there's any type of those events. If there's an oil spill, Deep Horizon, those types of things happens, we're going to be blowing up all of those things, so we won't have to stop production. And then importantly, if Hurricane Harvey came through, is that we're at a depth that all we would have to do would clean maybe some sand would get built up around our filters, but the hurricane doesn't go that deep when it comes across in there, so we won't have any direct impact from it. We might have to have sand removed and things like that, but our intake structures and all those are protected from hurricanes. Next slide. So that's our intake structure. One really cool thing about the way we're going to be boring down and coming out and then popping back up is that we actually won't have pump systems, or we won't need pump systems, because there's going to be enough pressure. We're actually trying to slowing the water down coming to us because the Gulf is going to be pushing the water through that pipe intake structure, that 12-foot diameter pipe. So it's going to be, we don't have to do pump systems. But with this, we'll be able to have a low velocity so that we won't have any worries, concerns about fish. We'll be able to basically swim by it. They're not going to get sucked into it because we're not having pump systems pulling it. It's going to be the current's going to be pushing the water through our intake structure. So that's really good for environmental impacts, and then also for electrical use, we won't have to worry about that. Next slide. That is our diffuser system. That's going to be about a football-linked diffuser that's going to be out there in the Gulf. It'll be about a few feet off the ground, so you don't get we don't want to just put it right on the ground level because you're going to have plumes, because there's nowhere for the water to be mixing as well. So you're going to have it off the ground a little bit so that it mixes, and we will be within 2 parts per million within 100 meters of our discharge point, so that's really good environmentally speaking as well. Next slide. The permit process. So we are almost completely wrapped up with our permit process. I'm happy to say when our discharge permit, which is of course the hardest permit of all of them, we are on our second hearings. We had our first round of comments. We made some technical and some legal adjustments to that. We're on our second round. The only negative one we've had so far is we've been asked not to make our plant bigger than 100 million gallons. We haven't had any other negative comments throughout this whole process, which if you're familiar with some other desal projects, I'm not gonna throw anybody's particular by name under the bus, but they would have thousands of negative comments. We had one, and it was, don't build it bigger than 100 MGD.
Who requested that?
A citizen.
Just a citizen?
It was
Okay,
just
so
a
it
citizen,
wasn't a
yes.
regulatory agency or anything?
No
like
regulatory agency set that up, because so right now everything is building for 100 MGD, but we are planning to go bigger because 100 MGD obviously doesn't fix that. So we were very pleased with that was the only comment that we had. Next slide.
Before you move on any further, and this may be jumping ahead, are you working on right away to get the water up to us?
Yes, we'll be talking about that in
About it, okay.
future slides. Yeah. So this is a slide you might have seen last year when Phil first brought everything to you. But this is our environmental. Because of the way we're doing everything, we avoided there's 6 categories you have to go through. We completely avoided it by going the way we were boring out. The salinity, it's minimized. We can't say that we're not affecting salinity because we are still going to be discharging, but it is a bare minimum standards. So we're very happy about that. Is that we don't have to worry. We feel like we did a really great job of meeting all those needs. And then the other one was larval fish, because redfish do spawn out there in the Gulf about that 1.5 miles out, but they spawn up on the top levels, so we're deep enough we're not going to affect them. But because we are in the same area where they are spawning, we have to say that it is one thing we did. We went through the process, but it is minimized to the lowest standards possible. So we're very happy through that environmental process. Again, that's why we didn't have any negative comments, I believe, through our through all of our permitting process. So next slide. So where are we now? So after we had, you guys had signed on with us last April, we completed our feasibility study with Black & Veatch. 95% of the water capacity has been sold already to communities, which I'll show you here in a little bit. We're actually probably will reach that 100% within the next 2 to 3 weeks. There's a couple other water districts who we're working with right now, and if they take what they have, we'll be completely sold out for our water for that. So all 100 MGD will be spoken for. We have secured our engineer designers for the conveyance pipeline, so we'll talk about that here in a minute. That was one of your questions you had there. So we do have those engineers already procured, and right now we are going through we did that part early because the longest timeline going to be for us was going to be the pipeline, not the building of the plant. So now we will be finishing up who's going to be building the plant. All the applications are due on March 3rd, so we're in the middle of that process right now. There are 8 qualified, we feel there are 8 qualified firms across the world who can build the size of the plant we're looking at. All 8 of them are working on getting their process in by March 10th. I don't know if all 8 will, but the big 8 are all engaged in this process, so hopefully we'll be able to select from the best of who's going to build this facility.
Are you able to share who is the engineering firm you're utilizing?
We'll get to that here in
Okay.
just a second.
And then the 8 firms you're are capable of doing this type of work. What is your process? Are you doing a construction manager at risk? Is it a design build? What is your?
It's going to be design, build, operate.
Design, build, operate.
Yeah, so the NRA we're going to own the facility, but we are not going to be operating it. Part of the process is they're going to be building it, but they are going to operate on a minimum 30-year contract with, of course, extensions down that. One of the biggest issues is we don't do desal in Texas or America very much, so we don't have the staff here that we can pull from to operate this, so we don't feel we can do that properly. So that's part of the process, is that they're going to build it and they're going to operate it, which most of them are used to doing that. So we're going to have that process. We're going to, so they're due March 10th. By the end of March, we're going to narrow that down to the top 2 or possibly 3 candidates, and then we'll start those interview process, which we imagine will take about 60 days to determine which one of those 2 will be the overall winner. We've already visited multiple plants across the U.S., and then we will start our worldwide tour probably in late March, early April to find those last ones down into who we want to build this facility. A couple of our requirements is they have to have multiple plants of over 50 MGD, and they have to have 30 years of experience doing desal. Those are 2 of our biggest requirements, and there's 8 firms that are capable of that. Next slide. That is a list of all the communities who have purchased our water, and I think I might have a typo on y'all's population served. Was it 3 million? Did I need to move it to 3 million, or no?
I'll let it slide. I mean, I like being big, so.
But those are the list of all the cities and water districts who have purchased that 95 MGD that we have spoken about.
And you're saying that your whole capacity is spoken for as of right now, correct?
I'm in negotiation with, I believe, the final 5 MGD, yes.
Okay.
Next slide. So that's going to be a general layout of the pipeline. Don't any landowners get too concerned. That is a general proposed region. We're going to go through a general black line. That's not going to be the obvious. I mean, it's going to move and shift from there. So we have selected LAN is going to be our overall project manager for this project. So they're going to There's going to be, the 5 firms are going to, we broke it into 5 segments, the pipeline. 5 firms will be selected for that. LAN will oversee all of them, and then the LAN will also be overseeing the pump structures that are along this pipeline as well. So the storage pump structures and all those types of things, LAN will be that project manager. HDR has been now under contract now. They're going to do the first leg, which is going to get it from the Harbor Island to the basically about 3 Rivers, maybe south of Pleasanton somewhere, and there's going to be their leg. We have not picked the firms that are going to do the other. We've picked the firms that are going to do their 4 legs. We haven't pushed who's doing which one. Those are going to be Pape Dawson will have one, Cape Freeze will have a section, Aurora will have one, and Adura will have the other. We're not. We know we think which one they're going to be on yet, but we haven't publicly voted on that, so I can't tell you who's going to do Y'all's Lake specifically. But those are the 4 firms who have been selected to be that final piece, and we just haven't officially said who's going to be which one. So those are the firms that are going to be doing that. LAN and HDR are already under contract, and they are working on this project now to start the overall layout and that pipe, all that, because of course that's our biggest goal there. Next slide. Oh, that was it. So that just shows you the overall river basin. You guys have questions? I'm sure you have plenty. Or maybe none, I don't know. My audience left me, they all.
As far as deliverables, when is the quote unquote wet water technically on schedule for?
Everything we worked for, we believe the plant will be operational by 2029. We're going to be doing the all 5 pipeline phases at the same time, so hopefully we're going to be as close as possible. We think the farthest reaches of the pipeline will maybe be 2031, 2032, but we will the plant will be operational by 2029, at least serving the Corpus Christi, that area. 56 million gallons are sold in the San Patricio, Nueces County. The other 44 million gallons are going north. We hope to get that as north and close to that timeline as possible. I think we'll know by the summertime a much better window when that's going to be. Now that we have engaged with those engineering firms that are actually designing and doing the right-of-ways and all those things.
Okay, as far as the financial obligations, when would you expect those, or what are y'all tracking as far as the start of payments?
Well, you guys have one more payment for your reservation that will be later this spring, summertime. We'll engage Phil when that time comes up. And then we're expecting to do that take or pay contract with you probably this summer to fall time. This is what the price is going to be. Here's the timeline, all those types of things. But your payment for water won't be till your water's coming through your meter.
Right. Okay. No, that's what I want to double check on.
Yeah.
So
we can start that planning process, and then we would imagine somewhere by the late summer, early fall, that our engineering team will be engaging with Phil and his team on, okay, the pipeline's going to come here. You guys are going to have to put in 2 miles of pipeline to connect or all that, so that you can start y'all's internal planning, so that y'all can be ready when it's 2029, 2030, whatever that number is, to connect to the line that we're building.
So also, real quick, when it comes to the money side of things, is that rate, are y'all planning a segment of, hey, this rate's good for 5 years, or like, are y'all going to be changing it yearly?
We're expecting a 30-year, so the Pay-Take contract is going to also be based on our contract with the builders that they're going to design, build, operate. It's going to be a 30-year payment, and the only factor will be in there will be electricity cost.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be a pretty set rate for 30 years minus your utilities cost that we can't control.
That's the only variable that would change, other than
I'm sure there's some
COLA or
more
something
technical,
like that,
little
yeah.
pieces in there, but I think you'll have a pretty good base rate of what it's going to be for the
Okay.
30-year take or pay contract.
Okay.
We'll be negotiating that with Phil and his team as this sometime this late summer. When we need to finalize all those numbers from our firms before we can come back to you guys with that.
What's the capacity of the plant, and are there plans to raise that?
So officially, it's a 100 MGD plant. Unofficially, everything we've been planning for is to build up to 450 to 500 MGD long term. But we have not officially started that process. We are officially 100 MGD. We need to get our permits, everything completed on that process first. But when we plan the pipeline infrastructure, now we're not we're going to be building so we can push more than 100 MGD through that pipeline for sure.
Thank you.
And that rolls into my question on your intake and discharge structure. What was that, a 12-foot
12
diameter?
foot.
Yeah, not inch, 12-foot diameter. Is that sized for your future needs, or is that serve only 100?
Officially, that is for 100 MGD. Unofficially, it can go
Okay.
much
That
higher
answers
capacity.
my question, and definitely take into account everybody that puts in public comment. Listen to the people. Definitely.
Yes.
The discharge piping, is that going to be sized for?
It's also a 12-foot diameter.
So it's also a 12-foot diameter. That answers my question. Thank you.
Travis, can you speak a little bit on the right of way and how you guys are utilizing TxDOT right of way to kind of go up 37?
They
Just to
did
give a
pass
little
this.
background on it.
They did pass the last Senate bill that TxDOT, within reason, they have to allow us to do pipeline in their right of ways. Or that not just us, any water district utility, they have to allow that. I can't officially say how or if we're going to use any of that because we're going to start that process. And at first, honestly, I thought we were going to be probably using that, but as we get deeper into it, I don't know if we will. I think it'll be actually cheaper to go around them than to deal with them. But again, we're letting our engineers decide that over the next 6 to 8 months.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
I don't have we don't have an official route yet. We would love to use the I-37 corridor, but there's still a lot of things that have to happen to make that work.
Okay. Thank you.
As far as the destination, where we are in relation to the pipes and everything,
Do you want to back up maybe a couple slides?
so you guys are treating it
Oh,
on
go back
y'all's
to that
end.
one map with that one. Okay.
So you're treating it at your all's end, close to the source. By the time it gets to us, are we going to be expected to treat it again?
No, we will have with our pump stations chlorine so
Along the way?
desal is very different than what you guys are used to or most of your water because y'all are treating groundwater or surface water to the desal project you're taking it back to H2O. So there's no treatment after it's done. We're making H2O. Some calcium has to be added to it so that it can run through the pipeline without destroying our pipeline infrastructure, and then the minimal amount of chlorine to make sure it's disinfected through the pipeline system. So when you connect and you're getting into it, you're getting almost as pure H2O as possible. So you're not having to treat it. You're going to have to blend or see how your current treatment process might have to change so that it doesn't interact. But it's not like you're not having hard water and then you're mixing in soft water or vice versa. We're in the middle. It's flat water. There's nothing in it chemically. I'll let.
What's interesting about this, that's exactly why, we're looking at our water resource study to figure out where we're going to land it. And if all things line up, I think we know where we're going to land it, but it'll be on the southern part of our CCN. Makes sense, right? So it'll be in there, but, also developing the pipeline that's going to connect. I don't anticipate us doing that alone. I think folks like East Central and us will probably work together on things like easement and pipe location and alignment, to make good use of things we already own. So that's the approach. It all depends on where the pipeline lands, as to where's the smartest place to send it. But it will come to a storage facility, either most likely an elevated tank, which will be a booster station to provide pressure into our system, the blending and all of that stuff. We'll have to look at that, but that's exactly why we're looking at it now, to figure out where that landing point's going to be.
But the water that comes from us will be to TC containers that you could actually send it straight to someone's home if you wanted to, but you got to mix it or get it however y'all going to blend it to the system is the question. But our engineering team will work with y'all's team to work that out.
Otherwise, we're on the hook for our pipeline only. It's not a part of their rates or their studies.
The way I understand it, correct me, you're not going to bring it to our doorstep. You're just going to be
we're going to bring it as humanly closely possible as we can.
Yeah.
And then we
to
gotta
meet your
pick it up
standards.
from
So we're
there.
going to try to bring it close. I just can't say how close it's going to be, but we will. One of the great parts of you guys being an early adapter is that we're going to try to work with you guys as we're getting these acquisitions to bring it as close to your line as possible. When we start phasing up, people who did an early adapt, here's our line, you got to find your way to us.
Yeah.
So y'all are on one benefit of that is that we're going to try, because we're going all the way up to Kyle. We're going to come through y'all through that area. So it wouldn't make sense for us just to say, too bad, we're putting it over here, unless it's just
I'll
mathematically,
from
it's just
that
too,
over
or, yeah, it's too expensive to get it right where you want it, but we can be within 5 miles or whatever that number is. I don't know.
All right.
Last thing I'll say is I am formally requesting a site visit when y'all are boring out into the Gulf.
Me too.
That is a very interesting concept to me. So
I cannot wait to ride down that
Craig, we're
elevator
recording
shaft. I
this
know I'm
meeting,
going to be
right?
really excited too.
I have formally requested a
But you
field trip.
can't bring any rods and reels with you.
Afterwards. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Last round of comments. We good? All right. Thank you for your time. Appreciate
No problem.
it.
I'll once we get the project, the builder and those things, maybe I might try to come back this summertime and give y'all a bit much bigger update on all those firms. I'll be excited to announce that when we know.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank y'all so much. You have a great day.
And remote, we can do remote stuff too to have a little more frequent
You're not that far
updates
from
if-
me. I actually live in Poth, so y'all are only a
So it's
little
just
bit
down the street.
Yeah, it's just down the way.
Very, very interesting project. I'm genuinely very curious about the process of all this.
Oh, we have to make it happen.
All right. Thank you. All right. Moving on to F2 business operations GM updates. Mr. Gage.
Okay, going through my memo in the packet, I mean, I'll just wrap up, what Travis was talking about first before I go into it. But if you think about it, all those countries that he had listed on there, this is my life experience, man. This is why I can't believe the state of Texas hasn't gotten more involved in desalinization. I mean, I really do think it's a good thing. So appreciate him coming out and telling us that stuff. On my memo, just a couple of updates that I wanted to point out to you guys. So we do have 61 employees right now. We do have a couple out that's doing FMLA. So our fighting strength right now is 59. On the second page of the GM memo, I've given you another organizational chart, and you probably think that I'm a little bit crazy because I gave you one in January. But what happened between January and February, I had an opportunity present itself that I just went ahead and seized. So what we did on the current operation chart, what you see there is, it's kind of hard to see, but it's under the water production department. We've moved Mr. Brian Kruger from the meter supervisor position to be our water quality technician. And then what we've done in the meter department, we've moved up Jason Baker to assume the supervisor role. And then we added one additional person to the meter department. And let me tell you my rationale for doing this. So Brian Kruger, in his new role, is going to be responsible for customer service inspections, backflow prevention devices, and across the whole system. So water quality type of issues. So what we found is we had an operational hole in our swing, in the sense that CSIs, we didn't have a really good internal program for tracking, and likewise with backflow. So what Brian is going to become as we get bigger and bigger and bigger, and we have to do more backflows and CSIs, et cetera, Brian will become the seed corn to have probably an employee or two under him in the future to streamline all of our processes with compliance. So there was an opportunity because we had so many applications for meter technicians. I was like, we have so many people that applied. Let's go ahead and make this room now because we have all these applications in hand with resumes. So that was the logic. That would give us a +1 to our annual budget. And so we'll talk about that in April to codify that one additional meter technician to our budget in April when we do the budget amendment. But pin any questions on that?
Nope. I think we're good. All right. Moving on to F2.2.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So in front of you, you have your executive summary. The chart at the top has been reset. It's for 2026. It's a direct pull from attachment 1 to show you where we currently stand with what's allocated, what's curtailed based off of current levels. Edwards Aquifer has been at stage 4 since January 1st. And will remain there until those are changed. And those numbers will fluctuate throughout the year as we get updates from Edwards. For the four graphs on the bottom, you'll see the new orange dots. That's the data for 2026 as it comes in, and that'll begin to populate, and you'll start to be able to see trends for what we've pumped, billed, what's known loss and unknown loss, and we can start actually using that data to our advantage. So moving into the actual report in and of itself. We have an increase of 96 meters for the month of January. That brings us up to 19,826, so just shy of 20,000 for the district. Over the past 5 years, we've averaged about a 6% growth rate. I think it's just under 6% if we're going to be accurate. If we continue at the moderate 6%, that would put us at a projected 1,184 meters for the year for 2026, which is an average of about 98 or 99 meters every month. So that's where we're projecting to be. It was right on track with what last year was, and right on track with our water master plan. So we can expect to see somewhere around 1,100 to 1,200 meters put into the system this year if we stay on that 6% growth. For water production, we purchased or produced just shy of 522 acre feet in 2026 or in January, and we're projecting to use about 7,400 acre feet for the year. So we used just shy of 7,000 with the increased connections and on track, once again, on track with the water master plan. We expect to be around somewhere around 7,400 acre feet utilized for the entire year. Pending any questions on that before I move on, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Brian,
Yes, sir.
could you, you had a note about increasing production from the Trinity well. Can you just give me a?
So as part of our maintenance and sustainment and restoration plans for our wells, so we just completed the rework of Plan 8, which is well 1, and we're going to work on well 3 next, which is another Edwards well. Following the update to that well, we're going to work on well 4, which is our Trinity well, which we need to severely update. We're not maximizing our Trinity water usage, and it costs us very little money to get that water. So we want to maximize that as much as possible. So one of the goals for this FY is to get that well pumping and getting as much as we can out of Trinity, and hopefully getting up to that 656 acre feet that we're authorized. So for billing, we billed 415 acre feet, which brought in $2.37 million in revenue for the company. We did have a known water loss of 40 acre feet and an unknown water loss of 95 acre feet. So that's about 18% unknown water loss. Sounds high, but throughout the year, it will drastically fluctuate and go down. So we had a couple months in 2025 where it was just as high, but we finished 2025 at 8% of unknown water loss. So nothing to be concerned about, but you'll start seeing on the monthly, on the board packets, what we did in the month for unknown water loss, just so you can kind of gauge as we move forward.
You guys have been consistently on our audits. Our water loss ratio has been reducing. I think it was 7%. It rings a bell this year. So
8%.
8%.
Yes, sir.
So I like that trend. So we got to, hunt these down and find them. So we're continuing that pattern.
We are, and one of the things that we think may be the issue is the guy that does all of our flushing. He is out for medical reasons. So our normal operators, we don't know if they actually annotated how much they actually flushed. So it could be an internal problem. We've addressed the issue with the water department to make sure that they're tracking, to make sure that they're timing it and everything. So we should see that go down, but we think that could be the main issue right there. For wastewater, so we added 43 connections in January. That brings us just shy of 2,500. So we're at 2,497 connections for a total, and we're anticipating to be on track or not above what we did last year. So our calculations put us at somewhere around 500 new wastewater connections for this year, for 2026. So we're right on track with that one as we move forward. Nothing significant for wastewater billing. Once again, as we get connections, we're going to see more revenue from the wastewater side. And then plant utilization, we're well within our permit, 17% for the new plant. That's approximately 128,000 gallons a day. And we all know Claire's water standard. It actually comes out better than what we produce probably. So we're good. We're good there. I would like to highlight at the end of your operations report, you do have the vehicle report. We're going to be working on a new format for that so we can give you a little better idea of where we actually stand with vehicles. Just for a heads up, we do have 3 vehicles that are realistically in op, 2 for a transmission and then 1 for an exorbitant amount of mechanical issues. They're all Chevys. I have nothing against Chevy. I actually drive a Chevy. But for service trucks, we found that from 2019 to 2022, specifically somewhere within that year range, we are having transmission issues, and it's an issue across the fleet. So we're going to get out of the Chevy service truck business. We're going to move closer to the Dodges and Fords, which seem to be a little more reliable. But you can anticipate next month we'll have a surplus memo for approximately 3 vehicles for us to put up on Gov Deals and see if we can make some money off of those 3 vehicles that are no longer working.
I'm
Pending
aware
any
that-
questions.
I'm aware that other local utility providers with similarly aged Chevrolet light-duty trucks are also having transmission issues. So it's just not an operator issue. We're not.
It's
No, it's definitely not. So and Chevy is aware of it. It's just that it would cost them way too much to do a recall.
It's like the
to change
COVID
those
time
transmissions.
frame.
They did
Yeah.
do a recall.
Yeah.
There is a recall for 2019 to 2022 Chevy trucks, specifically their transmissions and their diesels. And if they have the 10-speed automatic, there is definitely a recall to get them fixed.
Well, we can look into it. But these ones are already they're shot. So moving forward, we're gonna try and get out of the Chevy business for
That's
the.
why I
for
traded
the
in my
fleet.
19.
Pending any questions, that's all I have.
Everybody good? Thank you. All right, we're gonna hold off on CRWA, ARWAs. We're gonna take those into executive session later on. We're gonna go to F6 District Engineer updates. Travis.
Good morning, everybody. I know my report was a little brief on not having progress photos or anything like that. I was a bit snowed in, and I'll give you that brief update with here verbally. But for the total project summary, we have 75 projects in design, 58 in construction, and 7 in closeout. On the capital improvement side, this is somewhat part of the reason why the report was brief, but I'm happy to announce that we've got through the 60% design on the 1.25 expansion of the Santa Clara wastewater treatment plant. I spent majority of the month reviewing some of that. We had a turn page meeting with the consultants Tuesday of this week, and we've addressed, well, they will be addressing our comments in the 90% design. I'll be happy to bring that to a summary of that to the construction committee next week to kind of show what we're looking at 60% and some of the direction we're going to and some of the decisions that were made. But there's nothing major. We were able to, there was no real structural changes, and so we'll be engaging environmental to start pretty soon on that to get that hurdle cleared for that design. My chart here, not much has changed on this this month. I will like to point out on the very first line item, the 24-inch water line connecting Plant 1 to Plant 9 and the 16-inch Lower Seguin Road water line. It says 30% there on design. I went ahead and made the decision to split that up. We had previously, before I started, got the right-of-way acquisition for the 24-inch line along Green Valley Road, and that design accelerated much quicker than the 16-inch. Originally, we were going to package that together. We're going to separate that out now because we're ready to go on Green Valley Road, and so we might as well get that out and get it in construction. And I'll brief the construction committee on that next week. The Plant 17 elevated storage and booster pump station, that's still the right-of-way portion of that's still in progress. Plant 3 and Plant 8 generator, we'll be awarding that here today. We'll be making a recommendation of award for that today. And the 16-inch pipeline from the co-op meter station to Plant 3, it says close out here. We should be done within this week. I know on the completion date, it looks like it's a little bit behind schedule. We were waiting on a material, one valve stem, I believe, and so that was the only thing holding us up. It's completely functional and operational, and they did a final walkthrough, I believe yesterday on that. Other than that, the Plant 9 is the only other one I have a large update on. Is we've passed through the 90% design on that as well, and we'll be going into 100% design. We'll hope to have that out for bid here in a couple months. So, other than that, that's all I have today. If anybody's got any questions.
Just a quick question I saw, and this is maybe related to some of this or not. As you know, I noticed everything that's going up and down Lower Seguin. I saw a couple of trucks out there around Lower Seguin and Hakerville, company trucks. I think you would pronounce it Maestro, Maestro. Is that a surveying contractor for us?
I believe so. I'll double check with Freeze and Nichols.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if that's with us or not.
'Cause they looked like they were punching a hole right at Lower Seguin and Hakerville. I have no idea what for. I wasn't sure if it was us or if it was some other contract surveying.
Yeah, I would assume it's subsurface
Yeah.
utility
What it
locations.
looked like, yeah.
And so I would assume it's probably our the subcontractor for our design team. I know they were going to wait to engage on the properties once they get all the right of entries secured. And so they may be just, for time's sake, taking care of stuff that's in the right of way.
Exactly.
have
Yeah,
access
this
to.
would have been, easily. Okay, thank you,
Yes,
sir.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
All right, committee reports 7I through III. Does anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns on committee reports? Anything anybody wants to share?
So I had a budget committee meeting just a couple days ago at CRWA to go over the additional money that we had left over.
Hold
from
on, don't,
the budget.
yeah,
Yeah,
don't,
well, we
don't.
weren't able to really complete anything on that.
No,
so
we're
that was
gonna,
my
we're gonna
update.
talk CRWA matters in executive session,
Okey dokey.
so. But as far as any of these 7I through III, we're good on those? Everybody good? All right. Moving on to item G, review and approve GVHD scholarship policy.
Okay, we have, for the next several items, just to tee it up for the board, we've got a couple of housekeeping things to do, and then we'll get on with the master plan update. So for the scholarship policy, what we've had here, we've budgeted for several years in a row now to put money aside for scholarships. We haven't had the policy or the vehicle to do it, and frankly, the staff didn't have the horsepower to get it done. So now that we've got Jennifer on board, she was able to get the policy in line, and we've coordinated with the New Braunfels Foundation. I think that's the right way to say it, right? New Braunfels Foundation. And they're going to be the executors of it, to get our scholarships up and running. And so what this actually does is formally allow the board to slap the table on the criteria which we've established, as outlined in the policy, and then we'll move forward for there. Jennifer has a web page already developed, waiting to go hot once the board approves the policy, and then we'll get on with getting this awarded annually. So just a 30,000-foot view here. We've set aside in the budget 2 years in a row $20,000 for $5,000 scholarships. The policy lays out two types of scholarships: two that would be your traditional purely academic, and two that would be for vocational experience related to the vocations, right, whichever they may be. Hopefully in the field of water, but I don't think we restricted it to only water, but a vocational field. And so the requirements are in there. Just a couple of things to note. We didn't, anybody in our service area, the service area is the deciding factor, right? So you have to be, receiving Green Valley water. But we also put in there that we're not excluding board members, because you all are ratepayers, and we're not excluding employees from applying, their children from applying, because we think that's important, that we have the opportunity to do that as well. There is a rigorous criteria. It will be third-party graded, so we will not pick winners and losers. We will have that done by a third party, which really I like, because it insulates it insulates us for anything that would appear impropriety, because we don't want to do that. We want to award scholarships to young men and women, so that's the idea. So anyway, that's the policy. We're happy to answer any questions, and Jennifer is here too to answer any questions that you may have.
No, I mean, this is something that, I really wanted to get going. I mean, I think we have a fiduciary duty back to our ratepayers in some way, shape, or form, especially to the kids in education. Thank y'all for delivering this. I know it's about 3 years coming since I started, but, we're finally here, and, thank you to the organization that's taking care of it and keeping us transparent and organized, and we really appreciate the discount that we're receiving from that bill. But nevertheless, glad to finally get this to fruition. Does anybody have any other comments, questions?
Let me just mention that, we're going to try to do this year, and we are way behind on the normal cycle. We're about to close all of our applications right now. So I think once we get a link that we can send it out, I think would be very helpful if everybody sent it out to anybody with kids that are eligible to help us
Push it.
push it. Yeah.
I have a small question about the application process. It says financial need. If they're already FAFSA approved, would we accept that as a financial need if FAFSA has already said yes? Or is there an additional financial need?
I don't know what that is. Jennifer, do you know what that is?
Is able to get student loans if you
The
can
answer
get a
is
Pell
yes.
Grant or
The
a
answer is
federal-
yes. We'll use that.
Okay, all right, perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Britt. You're more expert than I am on this one for sure.
All right. Without further ado, do we have a motion to approve? I have James motion to approve.
Second. You got it.
I have Sherry as a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any recusing? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you. Good job. Appreciate y'all work on that. We're gonna go to item H, review and approve the updated GVC write-off and uncollectible receivable policy.
Okay, this is very, very easy, board. You've already approved a write-off policy, which is necessary to keep our books in the right place as we move forward, from month to month, quarter to quarter. So what we found in the previously approved policy that we're operating under, we had some pretty strict controls on who could approve the actual write-offs. And basically what it was, we would bring it to the board, it'd be a consent agenda item, and the board would approve it. What we found when we practiced in the real world, so the month closes, we do the write-offs. The board meeting's not until the last of the month because we're a month behind. And so the amendment to the policy is it gives the authority to the general manager to approve the write-off so we can write it off in the proper month on the books, and then it'll be ratified by the board in the consent agenda. So there's still oversight over the write-offs, but it doesn't cause a timing issue for our accounting. And that's what we want to do. That's the only modification. It's down in the section E where it talks about the approval authority for write-off request and how that's done. So you'll see it a quarterly write-off. We do it by quarter. And that's the only change in the policy. Other than that, it's exactly the same as the previously approved model. Any questions on that?
In the event we way down the road have a gap in the general manager's position, do we have a contingency plan where the next in line would be the acting general manager and then this would still apply? Or do we need to add or acting or something to that effect?
No, I think, so we also have a policy on succession, and the succession
succession
policy,
policy covers that?
lays that out. And so we are covered with that. So anything delegated to me would follow the succession plan, which is also an approved policy. That would be the answer to that. And I'll try not to get hit by a bus. So.
If you do, though, we're covered, so.
Make a motion, we approve.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, moving on to the professional association presentation.
Okay, can you pull up the slides for me quick? I'm going to stand up and I'm going to try to be excited for a few minutes, but I'm not going to take a lot of time. So back when we did the strategic plan, You know, we sat here in this room and we talked about a lot of things, right? And one of the things that we talked about was that we want Green Valley to become a leader in the industry. And we want it to be seen as a standard, you know, that everyone gauges themselves by. And, you know, it's a pretty lofty goal. But we're starting to achieve that, right? And we're starting to achieve it. I have indicators. The indicators are that we have a lot of sister systems, and shoot, we got places even far away up by Dallas that call us and ask us for our opinions on things. And what that means is that we're starting to turn the tide to becoming, you know, real leaders in the state of Texas. Well, we've been thinking about an initiative to take this a step further. What we have here is, just like the slide says, the Texas Alliance of Special Utility Districts, and you probably wonder what the heck that is. So we've talked a little bit about it in the executive committee, and I just want to lay out real quickly for you guys this morning. So go ahead, next slide. So what we have here is, you know, what we figured out, there's a lot of associations out there. There's, you know, Texas Rural Water Association. You have AWWA, American Water Works Association, Texas WWA. You have WHEAT, which is another one. There's a bunch of these professional organizations. The difference between the professional organizations and what the Texas Alliance is going to do is they work on training, large conferences. They do a lot of, you know, outreach, and they develop products for smaller systems and stuff like that. In the cases of TRWA, we're not going to do that because we have a unique set of challenges, and that's what I tried to kind of lay out on this slide. You know, our primary challenge is that special utility districts are completely unique. They're unique political subdivisions in the state of Texas. Just like a county, just like a municipality, it's a political subdivision. But we're very narrowly focused on water and wastewater services. We are not taxable entities. We are not the same. We don't do all services that a county does, even though a county is a political subdivision of the state. Because we're unique, we have a tendency to have gaps in understanding with the public, the legislature, local county governments all the time. I see it when we're working with outside entities. I see it when we're working with things like the Unified Building Code or whatever the heck one city has, which is different from the other city. You know, these things we're not the same. We're unique. We're unique when somebody like TCEQ says we have to send them our tax rolls when we have to request an impact fee, and everyone knows that we are not a taxing entity, or so you think everyone knows. Not true. So that uniqueness causes a lot of problems with regulatory and legislative, where there's gaps. No one's representing us. We're not a county, right? We're in 3 counties, and that's a problem. And that's really the next bullet on there, the cross-line jurisdictions between cities and counties. It dilutes our influence. We have no influence. We don't have a mayor or a city council that you can stand up and say, we represent a population of this, because we represent populations in different counties and different states. It's diluted. There is no one voice for a special utility district. There's no unified message. And we're not the same. I mean, you could be a special utility district with 6 times. I talked to, what was that one, Shan? Rose Hill? Yeah, Rose Hill called just the other day to ask me a question about how good an attorney Shan was, and I told him he was pretty good. But anyway, they called and they have 1,600 connections, right? They're a special utility district. And so we have nearly 20,000 connections. Some of my friends, the largest one in Texas, has 45,000 connections. We're going to be over probably 35 and by, 32. I mean, that's kind of where we're going. So anyway, it's not all the same size. And sometimes we're thought of, we're rural, right? And we are rural. Our roots are rural, but we're not rural anymore. We have special utility districts that are becoming very urban. And so there's a need, right, to be more sophisticated. So, okay, so those are the challenges. So the answer to the question is the next slide, is to form an association, and we have the Texas Alliance of Special Utility Districts. So what you see on there, we have founding members, Green Valley, Mustang, East Central SUD, and Johnson County SUD. So what you got on the chart there, Mustang is they are by far the #1 largest SUD. Johnson County is about #2. And then Green Valley, we surf around about 3 or 4. So you got the largest SUD in the state, and East Central's not, they're relatively large too, but they're not quite, they're just outside the top 10, right around 12,000 connections, but they're growing really fast. The other thing on the chart, you have like-minded leadership at these 4 locations. And so the solution to the problem is we have a very focused association that is very SUD specific, that is by invitation only. And our purpose is to really do two things: to engage the legislature and engage the regulatory body, and that's it. We're not going to do training. We're not going to do other things. We're going to get in there and have a voice in the legislature for things that we really need. And you can imagine what those are when you talk about groundwater challenges, water scarcity, the things that we have to do. We need some unified action, and we need a voice. And if you think about it like this, those 4 little icons on the map right there, that represents almost 500,000 people between us right there. That is a significant constituency if we could get unified and have a good voice in the state. That's what it is. John, I'd recommend we take this item to executive session to talk with the attorney about some of the formation items, the legal items we're doing for this. But I wanted to introduce to the board, and enthusiastically so, and let you know that this is something that we really need to look at and move forward with and do. Not asking for any board action today, but if we'd take the rest of it in executive session, that'd be helpful, I think.
Okay.
Shane, you good with that? All right.
All right,
Thanks, sir.
you. Okay, moving on to item J, review and approve the amendment to the GVSUD Water Master Plan. Travis and Gary, who's going to present?
All right, continuing our busy January we had, John and Phil had tasked us with reevaluating our master plan as we grow and kind of development shifts in the area and our needs. I was going to tee this one up before Gary does the specifics, but just to give you a background on what we did, Phil had tasked us with amending this, and so I wanted to get a holistic approach to it. So I pulled in our water operators, both on the distribution side and on the production side, and had a kind of a workshop and said, "Hey guys, here's the old plan, here's the new one, or let's make a new one." And I said, prioritize your needs. Let me know. You guys are the guys that touch this every day. Let me know your needs. Let me know what you think is a priority versus what us office folks think. And so we worked through some things there. It was a real beneficial process. We got real-time information. What I really enjoyed from it was our distribution guys came in and said, "Hey, look, we've repaired this line 100 times in the past 5 years. This one, maybe 54 on your list, it needs to move up to 5 because we're tired of repairing it." And so with that workshop information, we brought in Gary and sat down and kind of walked through that with him, and we came up with the plan. And I'll tee it up for Gary here to give you the specifics on the moves we made.
And before Gary ably takes us through it, the one other thing too, as we look at our calendar year, right, for board meetings, so we're reviewing master plans this month, mainly the water side. The wastewater side's really good right now. Next month, we're going to look at fees associated with it. We can't look at fees without looking at the master plan. You got to have the CIP numbers to defend your fees. We're going to do that in March. In April, we're going to bring you the amended budget. You see, so the year is going to tie together over the next 3 months to take us to a destination of making sure these things get reviewed annually. So anyway, I'll shut up. Gary, go ahead.
All right. Very good. Thank you. The current master plan is a 2024 document, so it was based on data from end of calendar year 23. So a lot of the updates were just taking off. There's 10-year running averages through a bunch of those charts. So we took off 2 years and added 24, 25 through the end of December 25 calendar year. We updated connections. Y'all are growing, so we updated those. So there was just some general updates from that effect. On the connections and projections for water use and connection growth, we extended that out at staff's recommendation. For regional water planning and state water planning, you have to go out 50 years. So we added, the previous plan had through 2040. So we kept that, but then we added jumps in there every 5 years. So we've added that. So you have projections through 2075. We updated available water. You secured additional Edwards lease, and there were some things in there that we've updated. I think most importantly, the regulatory compliance tables, we updated those. So as projections change on connection growth and you finish projects, we move some of those projects into a future future project to a completed project. So for TCEQ compliance, we updated those on how the system is actually operating today. And then those are both on a 5 and 10 year horizon. So we have a 5-year list of projects for priority and a 10-year list. And as Travis said, we reprioritized some of those projects. As he said, some of those low projects had moved up because of maintenance issues. Some of them are development driven. We had new developments come on that are approved contracts, so we moved those up in priority. And most importantly, and probably the last thing that I'll mention is just TCEQ compliance. If you look through the amendment, it shows that you're currently compliant, and for each of the 5-year and 10-year horizon, you maintain compliance as long as you build the projects in there that are in the priority. So I think that's great news. Y'all have long been compliant with TCEQ and plan to stay that way. So that's a great thing. I guess from there, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But we didn't do a complete new report. We just replaced the sheets that had updates. So it looks a little bit different, but we thought that was the best way for the public to see. So we'll leave the original document. I think the plan is to leave the 24 document and then just put this amendment as the next link. That way they can see the progression of updates. And then I think from the staff perspective, there's a commitment, of looking at this annually prior to the budget cycle. So these priorities are probably going to shuffle again. And you are doing well at knocking projects off of the list of future projects and making them completed projects. So I think it's worth an annual review and update from there.
And I would add too, for Mr. Cumbry too, one of the things that's holding us up with our work on the Conservation Committee and getting our new DCP plan out was getting our utility profile done. And what we were lacking was some of the projections that Gary just laid out. So these two pieces go together too. So now that we get this together, we can finish that first project, get it back to the Texas Water Development Board and get that going. And then the other thing that has struck me too about this, it was an amendment, not a full rewrite. And I think, Gary made that clear. And kind of the reason was, if you look at the projects overall, we're kind of shifting north to south. Because our original thought was our emphasis was going to be Plant 17 way in the north, and that's what our plan says, right? That's where we're prioritized. So what we're seeing with no joke growth and the capacities that we have is that, and staff is telling us, nope, we need to be down here with another tower quicker than we thought. And so Plant 15, which is going to be the future Plant 15 on Lower Seguin, which we already bought the land for, we already cleared environmental, that's going to be the focus, because that's what the operators are telling us they need too, in terms of pressure planing systems and how the system is behaving. It was a great time to do it. I'm glad we got it done, and so I'm comfortable with this plan for sure.
Does anybody have any questions, comments? No? All right. Thank you for the updated information. I think you guys did a good job explaining the changes and the modelings behind it. Thank you for the updated graphs too. That's kind of gives us a realistic picture of what we're about to be faced with. But as everybody knows, everybody's struggling with water. We're not. We're doing pretty good managing our situation as it's being thrown at us, and we just got to keep working on it. Other than that, does anybody want to make a motion to approve the adoption of our amendment?
I'll make a motion to approve where am I?
Item J.
Thank you. I lost my spot here. Approve the amendment to the GVSUD Water Master Plan as presented.
Second.
You got it.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. King, second by Ms. McDaniel. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor? Sorry. Any opposed? Nope. The ayes have it. Thank you. All right. We're gonna move on to item K: review bids and award contract for the Plant 3 and Plant 8 generators. Travis.
All right. This is an exciting one to get to award. I know this adds redundancy to the system, but on January 27th, we received 6 qualifying bids for competitive still proposals for the installation of new generators and automatic transfer switches at Plant 3 and 8. In the award letter that Garver provided, they provided a list of the contractors that bid along with the prices. Through the competitive still proposal process, we have selected and would recommend Noble General Contractors to do this work at at a cost of $806,500. And we did bring our recommendation to the construction committee for this one after scoring it. So I would ask, barring any questions, I would ask the board to approve Noble Construction to do the work for the Plant 3 and 8 generator and ATS switches.
They've done this before, yes?
Yes, they've done a little bit of work. It was very close scoring. I think I emphasized that with the construction committee. But they did have references, and they have done this work before, and they did have they had a very accelerated schedule, and so we're hoping to keep to that. But I have full faith they could get it done. And obviously, with the completion date on our capital improvement list on the status, it does have a very long duration, and that's just a lot of that is lead time for a generator. Once we get the generator approved, it does take a while to get it here, and so it's kind of you'll see a lot of progress up front with them doing site work and things like that, and then there'll probably be a lot of sitting around and waiting for equipment to get there.
Okay.
So.
All right, construction committee, do y'all have any
We had reviewed
concerns?
it in detail with Travis and the rest of the committee, and we recommended approval.
Okay. With that, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we award the Green Valley Special Utility District Plant 3 and 8 generator and ATS improvement project to Noble General Contractors in the amount of $806,500.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You guys have it.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to, L and M, we're gonna take into executive session. We're gonna move to item N real quick, knock that out. Resolution number 2026-02-C, Charlie, a resolution requesting financial assistance from the Texas Water Development Board for constructing various public improvements to the district utility system, authorizing the district's financial advisor, bond counsel, and engineers to coordinate the submission of one or more applications to the Texas Water Development Board and other matters in connection therewith. All right, Mr. Gage, you want to summarize this one a little bit more?
Yeah, this was mine, and this one's kind of exciting, right? So, because it all ties together, right? So, in my previous breath, I just told you that Plant 15 is really important to us, and that's what the number one project is in our 0 to 5 year, and the plan you just approved. Well, so what happened with the Texas Water Development Board this year? They opened up a new grant program that's been through a couple of rounds of public comment, and there is, I would say, it would suffice to say that everyone's jumping on this like a bowl of neck bones, right? Because everyone's trying to get in this grant program because the options are, the opportunities are few and far between for special utility districts. So in this particular case, we have the ability to apply for a maximum of $5 million. That $5 million can be used for a water project that is quote unquote shovel ready. Well, guess what? We got one, Plant 15. Land and environmental purchased, and design will be right behind it by the time this package goes in. So I have no qualms with getting that done. What you're actually giving me today is the authority to fill out the application. Although it looks like it's a bond document, it is not. We are not bonding any money. We're not spending any money. We're applying for a grant, and that's what this resolution allows us to do, even though it does come from a bond attorney. Don't be scared. It's just so we can apply for the application of the bond. And so that's what we're asking to do, and that would be the purpose that we'd use it for. And Gary, did I cover that pretty good? Yeah.
I think you'll have a good chance at this one because there's not too many shovel-ready projects out there that you own the land, your environmental's done. You can get down the road. There's from what we've seen in the draft document so far, there's a scoring criteria, and one of them is all the pre-development work. You already have that box checked, so that's a 10-point add right on top. So hopefully you have a good chance of landing it, and $5 million goes a long way on a elevated tower. So
I will say, to add to Gary, I will be briefing the construction committee next week on the specifics on Plant 15 and how we're going to move forward with this.
So application goes in, we get everything submitted, we should hear back
When-
from an award or non-award.
Gary, how long do you think it'd take for them to actually do the award of the? Well, I'm trying to get his exercise, yeah.
The application process isn't open yet. They're supposed to, we've went through one public meeting with them on the criteria, so they're still working on that. The application's supposed to come out sometime in late March, so we'll know exactly what it is. But I would think by the end of the year, they'll be making selections.
Oh.
But there's $1.035 billion available in the grant, so. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, so it kind of seems like,
We're all
why are
on
we doing
board
it
for
so
that.
early? We're doing it so early so we have the authorization to fill out the application.
Yeah.
That way, we want to be first in the gate, you know, with the mostest, firstest with the mostest. So
I'm good
anyway,
with
that's
that.
the idea.
All right. With that, do we have a motion? Somebody.
I'll make a motion to approve. What, I have to read the whole thing?
No, just the basics.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-02-C, requesting financial assistance from TWDB for the construction of the improvements as.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Oh, the ayes have it. There you go. There's that one. Shan, do we have anything on item O that we need to talk about in open session?
No, we have just the minor eminent domain related issues still pending and the one small, relatively small lawsuit that we're waiting a plea to the jurisdiction on. I expect to give you a little more fuller update at next month's meeting.
Okay. All right. So we have a lot to take into executive session real quick. Apologize, but matters need to be discussed. So we're going to take items F3, 4, and 5. We're going to take items I as well, items L and M, then items P, Q, R, S.
You got it.
The rest of the alphabet too, right? So- yeah. All right. So time is 10:20. We're gonna take a 10-minute recess and then can join back there and get going. Thank you.
Items L, M, and O.
11:40. Mic check. We're good? All right. We're coming back into open session. Time is 11:40. On post-executive session items, item T, consideration and possible action on items discussed in executive session. I believe we have none, right, as far as motions go. All right, we're going to go to items U, consideration proposed items to be included on next month's board meeting agenda. Do we have anything? No? If so, get with Mr. Gage. Item V, adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Do we need to,
We need to go.
Hold on.
we need to?
What do we need to do? Sorry.
You got to
Yep,
go,
sorry, again.
go back to
Going
the
back,
items
we're gonna go
above.
back to visit items L and M. Item L, resolution number 2026-02-alpha, resolution of the governing body of GVSUD, appointing the Kane Regional Water Authority one member to the Board of Trustees for 2-year term of office.
That
Uh,
replaces.
So we'd be
Ryan's current
nominating,
term, is that correct?
yes, this would be for Mr. Nick Sherman's. Do we have a motion and a recommendation? Or a recommendation first?
I make a recommendation to appoint Nick Sherman to CRWA Board of Trustees for a term of 2 years.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Nick, congratulations, you're back on it.
Thanks.
Okay, resolution number 2026-02-B, resolution of the governing body of GVSUD appointing the Kane Regional Water Authority one member of the Board of Managers for 1-year term. Do I have a motion or a recommendation for,
I'll make a motion, we appoint Mr. Phil Gage to the Board of Managers, CRWA Board of Managers for a term of 1 year.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we went through that one. Did we miss anything? Are we good?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, we're going to item V, motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank y'all. Have a great day.